Hello. Getting choked up coming on.
Uh-oh.
Good evening and welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth.
Woo-hoo.
Hello to the world.
There is no going back to the way things were. That's over. That's not going to happen.
You muted. You muted. You muted. You muted. You muted.
Why it doesn't come up anymore like that. But anyway, so hello. Now our voices are being heard.
Yeah, we had a moment. It's been that type of a moment today. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, again, welcome everyone to the United States and around the world. Welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth. Our Tuesday night edition of Changing Your. Why this thing is buffering? Like
Are we good, Charles?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're moving now. Yeah, it froze for a hot second.
We're moving.
Okay.
Okay.
This
All right.
I don't know what's going on with this buffering thing. You know, this we done
It's
invest.
terrible. This
Yeah.
Wi-Fi always.
Well, we've
Wi-Fi.
invested in another situation, and we're in the same room with the Wi-Fi. So this must be Trump trying to hone in on our information because we getting too much to the truth behind the truth.
Uh-oh.
That's what that is. You know, trying to censor us like he tried to censor Don Lemon. Shout out to
You got bail
Don.
money.
Yes. Shout
You
out
better
to
have
God.
bail
What
money.
did you say, Charles?
You better have bail money.
Yeah, I do.
Because the block is hot, right?
Yep.
The
Yeah.
block is hot out here.
Trying to censor people from telling the truth behind the truth on your ass. Come
Well,
on,
you
now,
know
really.
what? I think, what the greatest thing that happened out of all of this is that a lot of us are not going to really trust mainstream media anymore.
Right.
Because to be honest with you, the urgency in mainstream is not there for the situation that happened to Don and those 3 other Black independent journalists.
Correct. Uh-huh.
So to be honest with you, I think and I'm happy that it did happen.
Uh-huh.
Because if you watch CNN and everything else that reported this,
Uh-huh.
the urgent.
Oh, no. Oh,
No. We good? Charles, are we good?
Okay, you blanked out for a minute. Okay.
I don't know why this.
Now I hear you.
Good?
Okay, now you're back.
Okay, great. Well, we're gonna go back to what I just said.
Uh-huh.
The situation with what happened to Don was really a dangerous situation when it comes down to freedom of the press
Right.
and freedom of free speech.
Mhm.
I know people want to bring up freedom of religion, but to be honest with you, with that situation, I know people want to throw that in because of the situation with what had happened. But the thing about that is it really, when it boils down to the press,
Uh-huh.
that trumps everything
Right.
with democracy.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean, you with the freedom of religion, that's everybody's religion, not just one. That's everybody's religion. But when you attack the press and put the press on whatever type of persecuting or just doing whatever you're doing to try to diffuse it, that's when it's in dangerous. That's when democracy is in a dangerous situation. So, like I said,
I'll slide over. You can play to that camera.
but like I say, to be honest with you, do you agree, Charles, with that?
I do. I agree with you totally.
So,
a lot of what's going on right now is actually them stretching the boundaries.
Yeah.
Like we say, this is unprecedented. So nobody's responding because they keep thinking you can't go past it. But they're showing you can do whatever you want to do. My son made an interesting point the other day. He goes, I don't want to hear another politician tell me from now on they can't do nothing because you can do whatever you want to do. Look at Trump. He walked in there and he did whatever he wanted to do, how he wanted to do, to whoever he wanted to do, and nothing stopped him. So you can't tell me you can't get things done.
Oh, well, and I think that his alleged base now that he's are playing up to that of getting things done or not getting things done. I don't, it's not that he's getting things done in terms of the benefit of the American people. You know what I mean? And there's a difference, okay? It's a difference when you're going with an agenda and pushing your agenda. But where are the American people in the part of that whole agenda? This is where the whole comes in. So let's not get confused about him getting things done. You can get anything done when you got the control. And force people to be doing and seeing your way, threatening them, taking them out of office, threatening their bank accounts, wanting to kill them. Yeah. Well, hell yeah, you're gonna get shit done. Excuse me for being so blunt about it, but yeah, you are. So
But the excuses shouldn't be there. The excuses, I say, shouldn't be there for the Republicans. I'm sorry. When you control the House, the Senate, and you have the executive, there is no excuse for not getting things done. Now, he was campaigning out there. He said on the first day things would go down, prices would go down.
Right.
I mean, have you gotten your tariff check yet?
No.
Have anybody gotten their tariff check yet?
But
No.
even
he didn't even cut taxes on overtime. He cut taxes on the half part of overtime. So instead of paying tax on the whole time and a half, you only pay tax free on just the half part.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
Well,
yeah.
I haven't got my
that
check
makes a lot of difference.
Well, ain't nobody getting no more stimmies. I told you.
I ain't got my stimulus check. That
when it started out, we wasn't getting no stimmies.
What'd you say, Charles?
Yeah.
I say we just gotta. What's that say? You hold your breath and hope it happens. Just hope you don't pass out.
Well, okay, then
right,
that
I'm
probably.
on my bro.
Yeah, I know, right?
And hope for and what they call it and keep hope alive.
Uh-huh.
Let's just do it that way.
That's the Jesse Jackson model. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, I tell you.
So, but realistically, in terms of again, looking at the perspective of making that a alleged statement of getting things done. There's no way where you can walk into office and change things. There's no way, So putting himself out there like that in the beginning was just kind of stupid anyway. At the end of, why would you make this statement like, day one, I'm going to walk in and all grocery prices are going to drop? Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. So for those that actually believe that kind of crap, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I got a bridge I need to sell you. Matter of fact, before the show over tonight, I'm gonna have 2-3 bridges to sell you because you need to buy one. Right?
Oh, you need a gold card.
Gold card. Yeah, that's right. I got a gold card and a bridge I want to sell you. A bridge to nowhere and a gold card to use when you get there.
Basically.
So, but anyway, none of these gonna have to filter into our conversation tonight anyway. Just seemingly cannot stay out of the media aspect of it. But we're kicking off tonight. We're kicking off, of course, as set aside Black History Month. But I years ago I stopped calling it Black History Month. I call it American History Celebrating Black Excellence. And we do this all year long, and some of us have to do it. We do it every night. We go to bed, we wake up, we go to sleep, we wake up, still, we celebrating it, at the end of the day, we celebrating our accomplishments. But, so yes, this is the time to set aside to do that. So this time we're going to be focusing on not the Harriet Tubman's, Great Harriet, and all of the Frederick Douglasses and all those other, but we want to look at major successful accomplishments intertwined in today's society, not necessarily living, but that made a mark in today's society economically, and where we're moving forward in economic power. If we even listen to the things that they did, even though they're on the other side at this particular point in time. So this week, we're starting off with Jackie Robinson. Many of you had no idea probably what the success after he started after he left baseball, because he's contributed to the situation and maybe on breaking racial barriers in baseball. But this man was an extremely smart and an successful man. Okay, that is a representation, what we all consider a great segment of Black excellence. So I think I got it for you, Charles. Do you have it, Charles? Do you want me to get it?
No.
I got it. That's right.
Am I the only one that didn't know that Jackie Robinson was the first Black vice president of a major U.S. corporation? Now, we all know that he was the first Black player in the MLB, but he was actually the first Black man to do several things, and I had no idea. So when he retired from baseball in 1957, he went to work for a company called Chock full o' Nuts, which was a New York-based coffee brand. He was hired by the founder himself to be the VP of personnel. During his time at the company, he pushed for economic advancement and improved working conditions. He was also an advocate for all the minority employees, ensuring that the company maintained a diverse workforce. He held that position for 7 years, making him the first Black VP of a major U.S. corporation. When he left that position, he started his own bank. In 1964, he co-founded the Freedom National Bank, and he also served as the first chair of the bank. The bank was located in Harlem, and they provided certain financial resources to the Black community. They provided mortgages, personal loans, and lines of credit. Unfortunately, due to racial discrimination within the banking industry, the Black community didn't have fair access to these things. Freedom National Bank ended up being the biggest Black bank in New York State, and it truly provided the Black community with financial freedom, power, and independence. In 1965, he was hired by ABC to be the first Black TV analyst to cover the MLB. In 1970, he started his own construction company focused on affordable housing. So he started with low to moderate income housing, and they built over 1,600 units, mostly in Brooklyn, New York. And the majority of the projects were done without government funding. What I admire the most about his story is that everything he did on and off the field 100% aligned with his never-ending mission to fight for equality and civil rights. This is a true legacy that should be celebrated in its entirety. Big shout out to Jackie Robinson. Happy birthday to Jackie Robinson, which is January 31st. Make sure you're following all the Jackie Robinson social media accounts to learn more about his legacy. But this is some real dope information to me.
Yeah,
that was worth even hearing about.
Yes.
And the fact that he did that without government funding one of his businesses, I wish Elon Musk would have did the same thing. But you know, a lot of people can't do it without stealing and robbing and scamming, I suppose.
He's on the scamming block big time now.
Yeah.
You know, to learn from this, and you know, I'm always one that mentions about what has happened in the Black community to support even that particular idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And why we are not on the forefront with that same idea, you know, right now. Yeah. Why don't we have the Black bank? We're in a far better position to have Black banks than he was, but he accomplished that. You know, without any reservation and going. Of course, you know, as the video mentions, that the racial inadequacies that were in the banking system was still there, but it didn't stop him. You know, and we 60 years down, a little longer than that, right? Yeah, 60 years down the road, and we don't even have a Black bank. Excuse me, there are two in Atlanta that don't even cross and help each other out. So,
Martin Luther King said it best. He integrated us into a burning house. I hate to say it like that because, to be honest with you, that's what happened. People thought everything was better on the other side. When we integrated, we stopped dealing with each other. And on top of that, and you're gonna hate me for saying this, with segregation, it is what it is. With segregation, it forced us to have to deal with each other. See, that's the thing people don't fail to realize. With segregation, we had to become a community because we were all that we had. We had no federal protection as citizens within this country at one point. So who was protecting us? Each other. You know, we just couldn't go downtown to wherever you live. Downtown was the church, was actually the community. We had our own stores, drugstores, churches, all of this because we had no other choice. Now, after integration, after when we got affirmative action was starting to build up, people realized, oh, well, you know, it's best suited that we just disperse. We just go support our Wells Fargos. We go wear European designer suits. You know, we just stopped dealing with each other. And that right there is the reason why you do not have too many Black banks. The reason why you don't see too many Black businesses flourishing. Even in Atlanta, and it's so telling too, even in Atlanta, because we live out here in LA, but we lived in Atlanta. The saddest thing sometimes with that is that you always on Reddit or on Google, whatever that is, of any Black business, we throw dirt on those businesses because we expect more from those businesses, and we advertise the dirt. which is sad. It's just we advertise our grievances to people who wouldn't care, either way about the situation. But we do air our grievances. So, in other words, the reason why we don't have these things because number one, we don't on a real tip support. We don't speak positive towards things that are of our own, of our own foundations. And we don't respect each other. It comes with respect too, and I have to, I have to say that within the community, we have to learn how to speak life into things.
I say that all the time.
We have to learn how to speak life. Now, that's just one of the things I think that's one of the issues. Now, Charles, if you disagree, tell me, because I mean, let me know where I got wrong at.
No, we have to, speak positive. Words carry influence and weight. And a lot of times we spend too much. I learned this in therapy that we spend a lot of time agonizing over negative stuff and letting the good things float on by without even indulging in the joy of it or the experience. We miss it. We're never in it because we're too busy worried about what we don't have, what we can't get, what's not acting right, what I can't afford, instead of looking at the things you can. Because I'm a firm believer in this. Looking back, over a year, look how far you've come in that year. And I'm a prime example. Each year I've excelled, or not excelled, but I've progressed further than I was. And that's when I really realized, man, I'm missing all my good points. I'm busy worried about the negative and the bad. Why can't I just enjoy the good stuff when it's there? Because it doesn't last long. So you have to take it when you have it.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I'd like to go back just a little bit, and we're going to move on. What he was saying about what Jackie Robinson did when he was within the corporate environment, of that he was working for. He looked out for his minority brothers and sisters in that environment. That's another thing that has not happened. I won't say we won't do it. It has not happened on a larger scale for our Black executives. They're not reaching back within the environment to support each other, to elevate, to put people in different positions within that, to maintain that. And if he was doing his best to accomplish it back then, where should we be doing it right now? You know what I mean? There should be far more CEOs. There should be far more, people in levels of presidents and in higher levels of management. And when we have individuals of color that are our CEOs, and they're not reaching back and doing so. But you know what? Let's like you said, Charles, let's not focus in on the why nots. Let's start looking at more on the why tos.
But do we see the value in one another to put ourselves in those positions? Because even Phil Simon said this. Even in the industry, they don't hire us to do certain things for them. There are certain entertainers, certain people who do not hire their own people. Because they don't see the value. They don't see that I can't see myself being I don't see you furthering me, but I don't see myself being bigger with this type of management team or this type of accountant, because he might be black, he's black, and I see myself being better with somebody who is of another race. And that sometimes is always the case. We do not see the value in each other.
Well, yeah, and that goes back to I slightly disagree with you about not segregation. When we merge together, put it that way. I think that and it kind of goes along with Charles says, every day is an opportunity to do something greater for yourself. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And one of the things that we haven't focused in on, for whatever reason, I think it's like what Charles said earlier, and you said too, that we don't focus in on this or celebrating the opportunities that are in front of us, because we see it, but we always want to put a negative spin on that, and rather than celebrating it for that moment, for that time, because we start throwing in the what ifs. What if this wasn't, or what if this going to happen, and start, carrying ourselves down that spiral, and there is no prosperity movement out of our mindset to see ourselves better. So I think that unfortunately this has woven its way into the community, and we don't know where to go with prosperity. And that doesn't necessarily mean money at the moment. Prosperity is the mentality. You know what I'm saying? Prosperity is seeing yourself, even like the prosperity of going into another day, celebrating that day. That's prosperity. you know, and that prosperity has to start with you and become a part of you. And then once it becomes a part, then I think we start seeing more of the manifestation of the things that we expect. But what happens is that we're laying that charge on somebody else versus keeping it on ourselves and dealing with what we have within our own ranks. You know, so we have to refocus our idea in where we have the control over, which is ourselves, you know, and take that responsibility. However, you know, one of the things that stop that from happening with you, I'm gonna go there, is that our faith-based opportunities, okay? Because our faith-based opportunity does not project that particular opportunity for its congregants. Okay, not all right, for y'all want to beat me up because I keep saying all, okay, but it is an associated gathering of people of color. Okay, and it has been that forever and a day. Now, if in that gathering of color, we're not taking the opportunity to better each other, you know, if we're not speaking life into each other and speaking life into each other, whether it's a job, whether you work for a bank, whatever, you know what I'm saying, and we're not taking that responsibility of doing so, you know, and it's not coming from that. Well, we gather together each and every week. Okay, we see each other. Well, those that do. Okay, you know, you see each other. But how many times? Ask yourself the question: how many times are you encouraging that sister down the road from you? You know, in her pursuits to be a businesswoman. You know, how if it's not 2 or 3 of them there in the congregation, how many of you guys are supporting her business as a cosmetologist? You know, how many are you supporting her as a nail technician? And you know, within her, how many of the fellas are you supporting your barbershop? Not going there and talking about nasty parts about women in sports, but really talking about business related opportunities, stock investment, you know, putting things together, more ways of establishing business. And I'm going to take it off to assembly. Where is that coming from? Why are we not in the place of doing it? This is where I think our ideas have to be reformed. You know, and we need to stop putting the responsibility on someone else giving that to us. You know, you have to create it. You are the descendant of the greatest creator of all, which is our created God. So the first created mind should be coming out of the Black community, typically. You know,
we're just good at projecting our limitations.
Well, thank you.
I think that's what.
Thank you.
We have a culture of projecting limitations on each other,
and it is always, it has been a limit to what we can do when it comes down to things like that. So the idea of the reform, this is why this video was such a great opportunity. And there's another one out that's basically talking about where it speaks of, and we'll go back and revisit that one further. It speaks of the acceleration of the inventors of the Black community. You know, but again, every time this month comes around, we always go back to Harriet Tubman. I don't know what Harriet Tubman did, you know, and then all of the ones that projected themselves out of a bondage situation. But we don't want to celebrate the ones that are already out of the bondage. We always go back to bondage, you know, but again, it's that mentality like Charles said earlier. You know what I'm saying? We thrive on bondage. You know, this is why I don't know, I'm going on conversation, I mean to get this deep, but this is why we keep looking in our worship services on the here and after and the by and by, and not dealing with the here and now. Okay, because everything, it's gonna be fine as long as you pray, let God have it. You know, it's gonna be better when you die. You're gonna be down, you know, streets of gold and everything. So it's gonna make up for everything you didn't get on this side. You know,
if you get in.
What do you say?
If you get in.
If you get in, okay, thank you. Okay, if you get in, because if you ain't doing it like I told you to do, you ain't getting in. And I'm gonna be there to make sure I guard the gate that you ain't getting in.
The rough side, right?
Well, that too.
You got to go up the rough side of the mountain.
You got to do that too.
Get there.
So don't fight what I'm saying, people. Okay,
that's too late. They're gonna fight you.
Yeah, I know.
They're gonna fight
but
you.
The
that's
truth,
all you can't help that.
The truth is the truth behind the truth. Well, if you don't like the truth behind the truth,
they're gonna
see
fight
it.
you on that.
Okay, but
they're gonna fight you.
But hey, like I always tell you, hey, come on the show. Okay, hey, you know, you can knock and say I'm here. You can put a comment in the comment if it's appropriate. We'll put it up for you. You can send us an email, tgbshow@gmail. If you don't like what I'm saying, all right, at the end of the day, but I can tell you this, everything that I am saying is an element of complete truth. And if you have not taken responsibility to go and investigate it and understand your life on a historical point, shut up. All right, go ahead, man.
Oh, I'm done. You said enough. You said enough on that topic. I'm done. I'm just saying we just don't need to project our limitations on each other. I think that would be best suited in our community because we are good at doing stuff of that nature, you know, especially if you're coming from a small town situation or you coming from a religious situation. It's just I see it in the comment section and certain people that I listen to, and it's always, I think it's best if you do this, and I think it's better if she do that or he does this. And it's like,
Or leave it, let God do it.
Yeah, I'm like, just leave it alone. But anyway, yeah.
So, and again, now here's another point about the Superman. Toward the end of our show tonight, we have I love this guy because he is such a realistic life coach, and I love that the scenarios that he puts out. So we're going to have 2 videos from him tonight. So taking what I've said, taking what Donna has said, taking what Charles has said, and listening to what he said later on in the show, why don't you start implementing that? Okay, as we are. No, I'm not telling you that we ain't trying to do it here in LA because we got stuff going on right now. We need y'all help with, but we ain't gonna go there. You should anyway. So, but now we're gonna go a little bit deeper. We're gonna talk about in the same mode of a gentleman that was in one of the highest positions in the country during his time because he controlled basically the same thing. What's her name? Pam Bondi and that other
Christine, no,
great, yeah,
Christine,
Plastic Barbie, and all of them were in this sector. But listening to his facts, okay, about his life, you can understand being who he was, how ruthless this man was, because he didn't like his national origin of being of African American descent. And see what this man did.
The White Passing Hall of Fame would like to recognize J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI from 1930 to 1972, one of the most powerful people in America during that period. When you look at a picture like this, how could this man have passed? People been asking this question for years. One of his cousins even wrote a book about it. Shout out to Millie McGee. Hoover made it his mission as the leader of the FBI to disrupt, discredit, and destroy black liberation movements. This man wiretapped Dr. Martin Luther King and tried to ruin his image. He's the man behind COINTELPRO, which was devastating for the Black Panthers. When we talk about institutional racism, this is one of the people who created and perpetuated that system, who used the FBI to make life harder for Black people. Meanwhile, he was one of us. Millie says her grandfather, Big Daddy, told her Hoover was passing for white. He was Hoover's second cousin, so he knew the family. He also told her, don't say anything. This man could kill us. They say Hoover's paternal grandfather lived in the black area of D.C. when it was segregated. This is one of the wildest stories in the history of white passing. He uses the power he gets from passing to attack Black people and Black liberation relentlessly. Perhaps his attack on Black people was tied to his repressed something. Because Hoover was hiding a lot of secrets. Meet Clyde Tolson. Tolson was number 2 at the FBI throughout Hoover's reign. Like Hoover, he never married, he never had a girlfriend, and these two went to work together, went home from work together, had lunch and dinner, went to nightclubs, went on vacations together, went on Christmas vacation together to Florida every year. But no, nothing was happening. Oh look, they dressed in the same outfit. I could see the appeal. This photo's like a smoking gun. When Hoover died, he bequeathed his entire estate to his boyfriend, to Tolson. Tolson then moved into Hoover's house and accepted the flag that had draped over his coffin, like a good widow. And now these two are buried side by side. So I guess J. Edgar Hoover's in the White Passing Hall of Fame and in the Closeted Hall of Fame.
Not surprised. I mean, they said he always dressed up in lace pantyhose. But you know what? I'm not surprised by this story because, to be honest with you, Clarence Thomas is
a sellout.
one of the. It's the same. We good?
Yeah, go ahead.
We
Okay,
good, Charles?
You're back now. You back now?
We good? Okay,
Yeah.
we good. But there's still a bunch of Hoovers right now, and I'm taking score of them right now as we speak. You know,
Abraham Lincoln was a Hoover.
Yeah, he was a Hoover, but I'm talking about Hoovers now. I mean,
Yeah.
and they don't even trying to white pass these days.
Yeah, they don't need white face. They
They
just
don't need the white pass these days. But at the end of the day, I'm not surprised by this fool. And did y'all also know that within the FBI, he started a gay division to find to blackmail those who were of homosexual, who had homosexual tendencies within the government as well, within any type of industry, even within the civil rights movement. That's why Bayard Rustin was found out of being a homosexuality through the FBI because he got caught up in a gay sting in a bathroom in a public restroom.
up until the early 2000s. Everybody that fought against gay usually was gay. Pastors, fire chiefs, you name it. Everybody that hated gay people were gay guys. I'm like, what is that about?
Well, it's a tendency to kind of,
put the finger at somebody else that keeps the shot and keeps it off of you, but it
to
actually
get the scent off of
Wanted
you,
you,
basically to get the
three at
scent.
yourself.
What is that?
Wanted you, three at yourself. So you should
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
1 and 2, 3, exactly.
Yeah, to get the scent off of you, basically. When you you can always tell when somebody who is homophobic are fighting the internal desires of homosexuality. Because why are you always so wanting and wondering to know about gays? If you are in public with one, why do you get so angry? Why, when you got your woman beside you, why are you so worried about me existing? The saddest thing about it is, though, there is some internal issues with what we call DL men, but then on top of that, it's just the saddest thing about those types of men or those types of women is that they are so busy, hurting those people that they desire to want to be, but can't be because of either religion or because they're so afraid of living in their truth. And it's sad to walk this world hiding, like Hoover, hiding his blackness as well as his sexuality.
Man, be who you are. Be who you are. If you can be authentic, that goes a long way. People can respect you. People can feel safe around you. They can trust you. Just be authentic. Be who you are and live in your truth. That's all.
Basically, nobody should be worried about. You should never have to worry. But then you live in a society where you want to be not seen but be counted. I think that's why you have so many people out here. You like the bullies in school. You have a friend that's a bully and he's trying to, get you to punk out some, yourself. You want to be with the crowd. So you have people who are just not strong enough to just fight against the crowd. They want to be a part of something. And that's the saddest thing about those types of situations, that you have people who work in industries, who work in businesses that want to be higher ups, but then there's this little situation that you are trying to hide to get up to, at the top of the ladder. And that in itself is very telling to, you'll find out as, a lot of people, especially when it boils down to this Puff Daddy situation, whatever with R. Kelly too, or with anybody, is the fact that people hide these things in order to get somewhere, to fit in somewhere. And it's one of those things you'd be like, you shake your head like, man, was it worth it? Was this worth it? But then on top of that, those people, hey, that's the human nature. That's human nature, basically. Well, survival. It's all based on survival. That survival apparatus. So.
It just, oh my gosh, there's just so many ultimate layers within ourselves about this, and then, we talk about the subject of this, not the subject like that, but the subject of what surrounds this, and it just automatically goes back to what a person does privately should be done and held privately. Okay, we were having a discussion today about how can I delicately say this? We could not, without giving glory to the opportunity. Sexual positioning in the LGBTQ community. Okay, I'm sorry,
but sexual positions in both communities.
Well, no, but I'm using that as an example. But why is it that you have to have a full podcast on sexual positions within your community? Okay, It's just like having a full podcast on a heterosexual community. Don't nobody want to know all that.
True. That's
Okay, you know, and there are some very lewd and unexplainable situations that do go on in the heterosexual community. Okay, a lot of them. Okay, we ain't gonna talk about leather whipping, bondage. I'm sorry, I wasn't gonna say all that. You know, and heels in your ass and everything else that stuff that y'all go on that you picked up from the German community that. Child said, you know, picked up from the German community that has infringed and its way into every community of color. Okay, so when y'all start pointing fingers at a certain community, and this is not celebrating what they do at all, at a community about what they do, you think about all the horrendous shit that y'all be doing too. Okay, wiping poop all over your body.
But that's a step too far.
It is.
That's a step too far.
But it's truth behind the truth.
But the facts are the facts that you cannot. And I see what you're going with this. But to be honest with you, when it boils down to it, if you cannot walk outside of your home with your partner, or just being true to who you are, regardless of you knowing the one sexual positions, because I don't think you really that's a step that's a step too far.
Right.
But I feel like at the end of the day, you shouldn't be hiding actually who you are, who you are dating, because that wears and tears on one's humanity and one's mental wellness. Because you're always going to keep running away from your truth from people who could care less.
Right. Well,
I think, wait a minute now, because see, if you're not paying my bills, if you're not putting food on my table or putting clothes on my back, why should I worry about your ills with who I am with? Well, I shouldn't even have to worry about that type of situation.
That comes in a real trouble. that comes in with the versatile fact of not being able to be accepted. So when you have got a community of people that look like you that just want to downgrade you, you know, for whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So therefore the hidden closeted opportunities become more prevalent, you know, versus the saying, okay, you know, hey brother, I appreciate who you are, and that's it, because I love you who you are, not who you're in love with, not who you're bound by, and all these other types of things.
Go where you want to. You go where you are loved. Basically.
Exactly.
That's the kicker. You have to go where you are loved, and you have to be strong in your convictions to be in that space and say, you know what, I am who I am, and I just don't care what you have to say about it.
Exactly.
But go ahead, Charles.
Oh, you mute Charles.
You mute Charles.
I'm on the same point you all on. I'm just a firm believer in being who you're supposed to be and following your dreams. What's that thing? If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. Well, it's true. You have to have some type of forethought in what you're doing, what you're attempting to do, what your priorities should be. You know, like I said, I look back over the past, I want to say 10 years. Man, that's crazy. But even a little further than that, I went through a lot after my divorce, you know, being homeless and then going through all these health issues and, you know, trying to get myself fighting for my VA benefits and trying to get things in order, still going to court about my ex-wife. Hey, there was so much I could easily fall into it, which I did, into a deep depression, found out I had PTS and I was clinically depressed. But I had to try to figure out how to pull myself up out that hole. You can't waller in squalor. You just can't do it. You have to get up, move around, you know, and make an effort. It's true. All of us get our worn out days. We go, man, I don't feel like doing that crap. But you can't do that every day. You just can't.
Right.
Yeah, you can't. You cannot do it. There have been times I've had weaknesses too. You know, I have my own situations when it boils down to certain things like depression, but you know, with that comes recreational situations, because of the fact that, you know, with that, people dibble and dabble in drugs, people go out and they do things to their body like sexual situations. And you know, as I had to walk this journey before I met Jay, I've had to I have to be strong in situations where I'm like, that's not where I'm from. I that's not the foundation I grew up on, doing certain things that will hurt me and harm my temple. You know, people, it's so easy to fall into those traps because you don't have the strength or the wherewithal to say, no, That's just not where we're going with this.
Well, when you've been painted that number one, as you said in your temple, that your natural being is no good, okay, and then you're always fighting in a position to become good. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Your position is always no good. You're trying to earn the right of God. You're trying to earn the right of this. And then compiling all of the things of trying to figure out who you are as a person. And you're trying to earn this right. Well, it's not surprising. You know, I mean, thank you for putting up the suicide route, Charles. You know, and I'm not surprised there's more people not committing suicide. All of the things that are interjected on their lives.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and hateful rhetoric. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, because you're not measuring up, or you don't believe the way I believe, or that, or I don't like this about you because you're this, or whatever the case would be. You know, it puts people in a position of clinical depression.
Almost definitely.
You know, and trying to find a way out of that depression, because what happens is that you keep seeing who you make an image, or you paint a picture of who everybody else says you are, versus to seeing who you truly are. You know, and that's an innate and strong battle in order to rise to the occasion of yourself, not anybody else, but to your own occasion, you know, and sometimes it becomes a lifelong battle for people, you know, at the end of the, if they're not surrounded by great people that speak life into them beyond what they've heard, you know. But anyway, we're going to move on. And I hope you guys that were listening take heed to this and pass this part of this conversation on to people that that are struggling in these areas, and realize that it's a struggle is not necessarily a bad thing, but it could be a good thing. Okay, and there's a video all about that I wanted to put out there that we didn't have enough room to put it out there, but it can be, but it has to be used to the development and the elevation of where you're going as a person. You know, and use that as a backbone of strength for you. All right. So we're gonna. So as you guys know, this week that more of the Epstein files or the Trump files came out. You know, that was out on the market this week. We got a couple of people that they're going to share the same thing. But I was really proud of these young gentlemen on their podcast, how they deliberated about it and really stepped in and really found the truth behind how they were relating to it. Because you think that a lot of times that, assuming the young community, don't speak about things in the right way or in that manner, you know? So let's take a listen to what they were having to say about it.
I just read the nastiest shit I've ever read. They said Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them off. He measured the children's vulva and vaginas by entering a finger and rated the children on tightness. The guests were elder men and included Elon Musk, Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump.
What the?
Mind you, this is only one thing that happened on this list. And there's, what is it? It was 3 million shit?
3 million files. They deleted that.
And
they forgot that one.
Y'all would auction off children. These are the people that are in office.
These niggas, they measured them with their what, bro? Oh my God, bro.
It's
no,
like,
this is actually like, no, this should be world shattering to everybody. Regardless of whether or not you were prepared for it or you're used to hearing this shit, this should light a fire in you that understands that your government is being ran.
If
you support this nigga, bro, when it came out, right, when Trump won and niggas was like, I'm like, come on guys, we can still be friends, it's just politics. No. If you support this bitch ass nigga after hearing that, I don't support no pedophiles. Gang.
Trigger warning on the word I'm about to say. It's like, yo, I'm reading this list and the word rape is in every single paragraph. These are rapists. These are pedophiles. These are the scum of the earth that y'all have let into this office.
Multiple times.
And that are leading this country.
If that is not enough for you to stand in opposition to every single goddamn thing that they do, nothing will ever be enough for you.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Trump low-key told us the lukewarm version of that when he was first starting. Grabbed him by the...
Yeah.
He already told y'all he was doing that shit.
We already seen the pictures of him with Epstein in the 90s. Talking about the British royal family in this list. Jesus. Andrew Cuomo's in this list. Holy
Glad! Alright, slapping fannies and killing grandma.
Guys.
It's almost like the class of people we've been talking about. Do actually share the same class?
Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. John W. Nicholas, Linda Kitts. Yeah, it's just wild. And they just deleted.
Get all these niggas.
Guys,
get all
guys,
these niggas.
there's-
Get all these
there's
niggas.
no-
Lock them
there's
up.
no- There's no conversation in defense. They just uploaded it
That's
and
correct.
deleted it because they're like, oh fuck, this might tear it all down.
They were already legally past the deadline. They already were committing a crime, not releasing it when they were.
They were stalling for so long to hide that, and they still.
You guys okay?
We're
coming.
good.
There we
We're
go.
good.
Okay.
We're good. You know what? I have to say, that's better. They are better. I will follow them, and I will say, I like the fact that they are aware of this. Other than those fools at the Grammys, I want to name who he is: rapper Kevin Gates and Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll, that's perfect.
Now, I you know why I named these two idiots? Because they so about being, apolitical. I mind the business that pays me, and I pray every day. But then you have situations like this going on in our time, in our world. Why are you not aware and you hold some platform? See, this is why I tell people all the time, I don't worship our celebrities, or I'm not into fandoms anymore. I don't fan out for people who do not really understand that your platform holds some weight. These guys, God bless them. At least they know what's going on in their world. And the saddest thing about this situation is these are they're not even millennials.
They look like they're about 20, anywhere between 18 and 21.
The millennials, I feel, and that's me. That's more my generation. They are not aware of anything.
Right.
And they're not doing a good job at being politically aware of what's going on in this society. These younger ones are doing 10 times better. And the saddest thing about it is you'll hear more people talking about the fact, well, these younger ones, they're not even aware. I don't think you're listening to the right one.
Right.
That's the key. It's like I tell people about hip hop and rap. All of it ain't bad. It's just to what they promote, or what you get a chance to hear is the stuff that offends people. But the other stuff,
I don't know about that
put
one.
in the background. So, hey, what
No,
you
you're
do?
right. You're right. But go ahead.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, what can you do? I was just saying, what can you do? There's nothing you really can do because you have no power. You don't control the media. The rich folks are already taking it over. They're trying their best to snatch that up and control it, like Kim Jong-un and Putin and them do over in those countries where they don't let anything out they want. Like Trump is trying to make the voting federal. He wants to make the federal elections.
Right,
that way he can control over what happens whenever we vote.
Right.
Make it more, the voting more national. But this is where I disagree. We can control it. But the saddest thing about the American people, we go about things as business as usual. That's the problem with us. With everything that's been going on, it's been still business as usual. Nothing has really woken us up to the point of saying, okay, this is going too damn far.
Right.
To the point that
they're waking up. They're going, you treat me like a black person. What's wrong with you? It's a shame.
I can't say about black people now at this point in the game, because I got this from Joy Reid today while she was talking to Don Lemon. They want us so bad out there on those streets. Now you see the way they're dealing with all of our white counterparts who are out there protesting. With that being said, they know if we were out there, it'd be a whole totally different situation.
Yep, and we're like fuel to the fire.
There you go. And they will give him more leverage to want to bring out the martial law and all this other stuff because they need black faces. They need black faces to pull out that martial law business. But I think with our white counterparts being out there on the street, that has been a disappointment with the White House because they don't understand why we're not seeing people of color out there. Meaning why we don't see black folks out there doing anything.
They waiting on a stimulus check.
Go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry.
No, they're waiting on the stimulus check.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you got a point. That's a great hypothesis, but that stimulus check ain't coming. Right. It ain't coming no time soon.
So a couple of points about where first of all I want to go back real quick to celebrate these young gentlemen.
Please do.
And putting that out and putting that out there, because it does let them know, let the world know that they are paying attention. Okay, and for them also, for them to find that area very disgusting, it says a lot to their parents and their upbringing.
Almost definitely.
Okay, and have being taught, on another level, so they're recognizing the error of the problem that's out there, which is beautiful. At the end of the day, because we do assume that they don't know anything. We assume that they are the ones that are partaking in all the things we talked about earlier on and things of that nature. We assume that they're the ones that get into that hip hop part that I don't like, but at the end of the day, it was really, really great to hear them articulating it. It may have been a little strong, of course, but that's the language that they use. It becomes a common language for them to use that language now.
As long as they're reaching their platform. I just want to make sure they're reaching the folks on their platform. They're reaching this generation, and they're spreading the word, no matter how it sounds, long as the word is being spread. Because too many people
understand where respectability politics plays a part in any of this nowadays, because you see it from the White House. There ain't no respectability in what they're doing. I don't understand why we're trying to clamp down on people's languages right now. At the end of the day, there is no. The stakes are too. The stakes are too high for all of that. I'm sorry.
No, I know, but you know why.
No, even my.
It's called CHURCH.
What is that?
Church.
Oh, well, that too. But to be honest with you, with that situation, you know what? I'm gonna tie this in with the Don Lemon situation. I'm really looking at the church very sideways right now, because right is right and wrong is wrong. Even Jamal Bryant at Newburgh is trying to get this guy, because of the situation with Don. He's trying to make a parallel with the situation that happened at his church. Mm-hmm. But did you see how that fool Bishop Wooten was so cavalier about the fact that, well, if somebody come walking in my church, I'm gonna do something about it. Negro. That's the stupidity. And even with the Jamal Bryant situation, you got dumb Negroes right now talking about, well, he didn't go inside of his into his church. He didn't go into the sanctuary. Right? He didn't go into his sanctuary, so there is no call for parallels. That don't mean shit. And stop moving the goddamn goalposts, because the simple fact is he did walk into that man's church. He did disrupt him. Even if it wasn't in the sanctuary, he was still inside that man's church. But that's the situation with certain people. See, you gotta watch. You gotta start. We need to start taking notes of coons in our community. Hey. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call it what it is. It's coon behavior.
I had a video I wanted to play for the coons, but I didn't.
You didn't have it.
Go ahead.
Well, maybe this one will kind of bring it in, because it's kind of like in the same line of what we're talking about, how this idealistic way of looking at things from the other perspectives. But here we go.
America wasn't founded by grabbing a bunch of dudes from other countries, bringing them here, giving them free apartments and welfare. It was by people who wanted to escape religious persecution, and they started building things, not just coming here getting handouts. I mean, I've been a lot of places, and I've seen a lot of people, and as soon as the truth is told and you don't like it, you just say racist.
Let's talk about the truth there, Pierce. I got to jump in here. When we talk about the founding of America, it was founded by European colonizers, built on the backs of enslaved Africans and on the genocide of indigenous people. To claim that it wasn't, it literally was. The Homestead Act, which was finally repealed in 1987, gave hundreds of millions of acres of free land to white European immigrants while denying them to the descendants of enslaved Africans. And so even to this day, the single demographic, the largest demographic on public welfare are white Americans. But there is no accountability and restitution or reparations for the enslaved Africans and their descendants who suffered genocide. And we rewrite this history. Well, we built it by our bootstraps. No, you didn't. You built it on the backs of enslaved Africans who were beaten and murdered and raped. This is the legacy of this country.
To be prejudiced against black people and call them lazy requires the highest level of ignorance conceivable. White people, when they came to this land, were the laziest welfare babies you could ever imagine. Got everything from their king. Brown people helped them survive the winter. Then they got black slaves to keep them alive and make them an economic superpower. And now they look at those black people as if we're lazy. No, we're the reason you're rich. We're the reason you're rich. It's not by your hard work. You're not a hard worker. Historically, ancestors received welfare and now you receive welfare. And somehow you can look at black people and blame us for our situation. No, it's your fault.
Am I on?
Yeah, go ahead.
But it's like what Billie Eilish said on the Grammys the other night. You can't be illegal on stolen land.
Woo! But Charles, if you can put that in the crawler on the banner, that needs to be crawling. But go ahead.
You can't be illegal on stolen land, even when it boils down to the Hispanics. The saddest thing about this situation is you got a lot of people who will say, "Well, this is America," but then you remember Texas was stolen.
Uh-huh.
It was stolen.
Oh, it was stolen.
And because of it, we had the Mexican-American War.
Uh-huh.
And then we got half of where we live is LA, and you got Arizona, Texas, Nevada, and all of the Midwest. You got all of that through that war. But the saddest thing about the situation is you got people who want to rewrite history so freaking bad to fit their narrative, and that has always been the issue with American history. Rewriting history has been the biggest thing within this country. And you know what? I hate to say it. A lot of people don't like to read, and that ain't okay.
No,
that's not okay.
Reading is fundamental.
And that's why we're in this mess.
Absolutely.
We're in this mess now because people do not like to read. But at the end of the day, you can't be illegal on stolen land. I'm just gonna say.
I love that.
That threw me. That really was the
that was the show. Go ahead, Charles.
Hey, I'm with you on that one too. Man, one of the things I want to say that I think we should take a little pride, if not a little more effort in, is being an example. Those young men got where they are or got that influence from somebody. They didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to study politics. Someone in their lives gave them that bug and made them go, wow, I didn't even know that. When that happened and they got that fire in their belly to go research and see what's going on. That's the example that I want us to share. That's the example I think more people should share. A lot of us are always using that excuse that nobody showed me. Nobody told me about. Well, why don't we go out there and try to show someone? Why don't we be more an example in order to make that happen and make other people more aware?
Well, going back to the black church, to be honest with you, the only institution that was educating the black community was the church. I'm surprised.
What about that? Go ahead.
You good? We good?
You're back.
Are we
You're
good,
back
Charles?
now. You're back now.
I'm going back to what I just said, since we got disrupted. The only institution that was educating the black community was the church. Now, while we up here calling people's wives $2 whores, and we're calling Jasmine Crockett some hoodlum they can't speak, why are you not telling your parishioners about the electoral college and where it originated from? Why are we so busy pointing fingers at gay folks and at women who wear red lipstick? Why are
dresses
are up underneath women's dresses? Basically, you're up underneath women's dresses. My thing is, why are you not educating black folk to the point of knowing your history and how it connects to the system?
Yeah.
The facts are the facts. Without us voting, we are not really full-fledged citizens. And that electoral college is there because of us, number one.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't quite understand why we're not organized in that realm of our community. That's where the church dropped off at. And that is why I'm like you. I'm sometimes so pissed off with the fact that you can sit up there and sow division behind a pulpit. And we ain't gonna only discuss church. We're gonna talk about schools too and families. Why are you not educating your children in the home?
Because it's easier to teach.
Why
it's easy to keep pushing propaganda. It's easy to keep putting that in those belief systems and feeding them because it requires you to study and learn something different, to bring something different to the table.
Well, I'm grateful to have people in my home, especially my grandmother. As much as, she lived during that time period, but the fact of the fact, she educated us on this stuff too, including my mom. You have to have people who have to teach you who you are Because you got a lot of black kids walking in this world not even knowing who they are and wanting to be to not only they just want to belong.
Right.
But you have to understand you can't, there are certain things called microaggressions that you have to put up with by people who don't understand who you are as a human being because they only see you through the lens of a hip hop artist. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie to you. Charles, there have been situations where I've been around people other than who I am who claim that all we do is listen to hip hop. And they don't understand that we are not only about hip hop, we are jazz, bebop, rock, R&B, soul, country. We are all of these things in one pot. But that's all they look at us as in the lens of a hip hop artist. And that's not, I think that's the most craziest thing. But hey, to each his own.
It's the mainstream media push. And that's
there you
why
go.
you said that you frame your idea of a person by what's pushed at you. You know, you do. Bottom line.
True.
You know, that idiot in the White House, he pushed an area of all people of color was ratchet, and they were thugs, and they were trying to come in and beat up your wives and everything else, and they were drug dealers.
Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
number one
mental thug right there in the White House with a big ass.
The reason for
Anyway,
Nicki Minaj.
so you know, I'm gonna say this real quick. We got to go on because time is wrapping up. The one movie you like to bring up a lot of time, which is Tyler Perry's movie, I think it was Medea, somebody's Family Reunion, where Cicely Tyson and what's the Maya Angelou were on the porch. And the symbolic point about that is what we reiterate, how the men of that group was trying to push after the young girl, and push up on her, and then she didn't realize who she was, so she was almost playing up to it to allow it to happen. But that moment that they had on the porch, they were trying to remind that group of young people of who they were. And even in that film, we missed the significance of what was being said at that particular time. You know, we really do. But anyway, let's move on to this gentleman. He's kind of talking about the same thing. We're going to reiterate how we can't go backward, but we got to go forward, but we got to find a way to navigate it.
There is no going back to the way things were. That's over. That's not going to happen. We still have a long road ahead of us. The Trump regime still has to fall, and people have to be held accountable. We'll have our own Nuremberg-style trials. But what comes after? And that's something that keeps plaguing my mind on what comes next. When we go to rebuild the government in America, here's a few ideas. No more super PACs. That's done. Companies are not people. We remove that shit. We bring back the fairness doctrine in the news. There are 13 circuits for the Supreme Court and only 9 judges. We fix that. 1 judge per circuit. And they're no longer appointed by a president. They're elected by the people. And we can figure out the federal circuit voting stuff later. Not only are they elected by the people in their circuit, but there is a 15-year term on that. And while we're on term limits in the Senate and the House, a new committee shall be formed to oversee judges and whether or not they have any ties, financially or otherwise, to cases brought before them. So the new committee will be able to recuse judges. So the Supreme Court we have now is completely removed. We add 4 more seats to make it 13, and they are now elected into that position by the people of their circuits, with a committee to oversee any financial ties, familial ties, or any other ties. So no more judges sitting in front of cases that they personally benefit from. And I know a comedian said this as a joke, but it's a really good fucking idea. And that is, every person in the Congress, whether they be in the Senate or the House, has to wear a sash, just like a Boy Scout or Girl Scout does. And they have to wear badges. So if they take money from big oil, they have to wear that on their sash. Any organization they take money from, they have to wear that for everybody to see. When they're in the House and the Senate, they have to wear their sash. When they do interviews, they have to wear their sash. When they go out in front of the public, they have to wear their sash, with all the people who have bought them are giving them money. Institute ranked choice voting across the board for every state. For every election, ranked choice voting. Every single person knows the 2-party system is broken. Eliminate the Electoral College. That's gone. 1 vote, 1 person. That's it. Felons cannot run for office. Not any office. Ever. Anywhere. That's over with. From henceforth, any person from any cabinet position must actually be qualified in that field. Certificates, degrees, years of experience, they have to actually be qualified to be in charge of that field. Presidential candidates from here on out have to sit down in front of a whole board of people and answer questions. Not just limelight bullshit like 60 Minutes, actual board of intelligent people asking them questions. And if they can't answer them, that is for the public to see. I'm tired of this 1 or 2 debate platform forum bullshit. Sit down in front of a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, but it's going to start with the people. It's going to have to start with we the people, and we're going to have to overrun those ignorant ones, because you see these politicians. Yeah, they are representatives of their constituents, but you got to think about who the constituents, the people that they represent, who they represent are, because we got some wicked people out here in this country. And because of the fact that you can have somebody like a Marjorie Taylor Greene or whoever, or Lindsey Graham, you can have these people because you have people who believe in what they believe in. So we're going to have to fight the good fight, because you have people who will say, well, you know, I can't survive on this stuff, but then you vote against your own progress because you hate somebody. You hate a certain religion. You don't want to deal with anybody who is other than you living beside you. So you will vote against your own progress to
agenda-based voting.
Basically, that it's all agenda-based voting. But yeah, we're gonna have to deal with those too.
Right.
But I feel like at the end of the day, we need to get rid of the Electoral College.
Right.
Because there is no need for that anymore.
No.
There's no at all.
It's antiquated. Yeah, it's antiquated. It needs to go. It serves no purpose. It's way outdated. It has to go. Yeah.
Right.
In actuality, that's the only reason you have more have Republicans in office. If it wasn't for the doggone Electoral College, we wouldn't have any Republican presidents at all. Electoral College is the only thing helping them get that.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, and I'll go back and say this: the Electoral College was needed because of the Southern whites, especially during the times of slavery. Because who was overrunning the South? Us. We were. There were only a few whites that populated the South because they were either Southern planters or they were just poor whites. But it was most of us that were there down South working in those fields, but we couldn't vote. We were not even considered human beings, a 3/4 of a human being. Right. So the South felt like they were at a disadvantage because they felt like the North had to say when in anything that was political or picking presidents. Right. So the Electoral College was to balance the situation. Right. But we don't need that anymore.
No. Well, some think they need it because they think the balance would be off if they don't have it, and Democrats will be all over the place. You know, that's why they want to hold on to it. You know, again, another agenda-based level. You know. Well, anyway, we got to move on. But we really hope that once again tonight, that we are elaborating on areas and bringing you a place of pause to think about where you are, what's going on in society today, but where you're going to find yourself in the midst of all of this. You know. Last 2 moments here. We're going to be with our motivational speaker guy. Just take the moment, listen to what he's saying, and identify. All right, identify, and let's move from the agenda-based thought patterns, of ideology, belief systems, that hold us bound to certain situations where we can't involve people. This is why we're seeing, totally lost his mind. And supporters are saying that he has lost his mind, but they're going to continue to do it because they have an agenda that they think that he's going to be able to push before he goes crazy. Okay, and it's bound to happen. But listen to our we're going to take it off of him. We're taking off all the stuff, the Epstein files for a few minutes, and just find ourselves and center ourselves back and realize is that each day, like you said, Charles, we have to wake up and look at the gratefulness and the things that come to us at that day and be centered about us. And move forward in that. But here we go.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, y'all ain't trying to hear nothing I'm saying right now. You're not trying to hear nothing I'm saying. Doors are closed in your life so better opportunities can provide themselves. You wanted to walk through door 3, but life was like, why is she not walking through door 2? Because door 2 is really going to be the one that's going to get her to the level that she is capable of. See, what you got to understand, I think we've heard this in many prophetic books of the story was already written. We over here just trying to figure it out, trying to figure out which way to go. Life is already showing you which way to go. It's about being still, listening to those prompts, those intuitive prompts, the synchronicities in life that are saying, here, go this way, do this. And then you start to see that you have always been guided. You have always been steered in which direction to go. So now this is like, look back on your life. You're always going to be okay. So when that door closes, don't cry. Don't be upset. Remind. It means you have to tell your mind over again. This may be closed, but something bigger and better is going to be opened.
It's the truth.
Okay, there you go.
What? No.
You can go ahead.
That is the truth, though. And
the truth behind the truth.
That's the truth behind the truth.
You know, and it just draws pause to think and realize where it is. And then we just have to, even though it's difficult, we're dealing with difficult situations right now. I mean, as we speak on this show tonight, you know, and supporting so many other different things that we would think that would have already been, you know, readily available to us by what we give to humanity. You know, we've been given, Charles and I and all of us have been given to humanity for 6 years, you know, but in that 6-year time period, how many of you guys have actually contacted us and said, hey, let me contribute to something? Because I know you have to pay something to come on the air. You know, I know you have to pay something to bring this broadcast to us each and every week that we either take advantage of, pass by, don't think, we don't agree with you. So whatever the case, but you'll support each and everything else that you don't agree with. Okay, you'll buy the products. You know, you'll put them on your shelves, you put them in your bathroom, you put them under your arms, you put them on your neck, whatever that product necessarily may be to support another idea. But you have an independent opportunity that's been before you for 6 years. We'll be starting our 7th one soon. Okay, and not only 2 of you that I know of that has ever contacted us and communicated some sort of financial help for us. Seriously, 2. Out of everybody all over the world. Now, we may not be running with the thousands and thousands of viewers and all that stuff, but you know, just because everybody looks like they're listening to you may not be listening to you at all. Okay, there's a lot of people out there that listen to different things that ain't doing nothing, that ain't changing their lives, that are not even getting nuggets of their life dropped in to help better their life. But one thing we have played when we started this show, we wanted to help everybody to find their authenticity and knowing that they were enough. Okay, in the course of their life. If you missed that over the course of our time period, you stopped watching us, I'm sorry. You really missed a lot in 7 years.
Yeah, we really talked about
a lot of things. We've had guests of the yin yang. We've had celebrities. We've had people to tell you how to better your relationship to Tantra Nova. Okay.
Yeah, we went that far.
Okay, we went that far. All right. We have had I'm gonna say biracial conversations for women. Yeah. Okay, to see each other in a different light and have a conversation about why Black women see white women different, or if they see each other, not just seeing them as women. So y'all got to do better by the truths behind the truths. At the end of the day, now if you hear this and you want to send us something, reach out to me. Reach out to us on our email, ttbttshow@gmail.com. All right. Hopefully this is touching you in a place. We're not begging, but we're just telling you facts. We feel like we need to beg, but you know, you go to church and get begging all the time. You go to church and get persecuted for feeling bad because you didn't bring your 10%. Okay, and you will pull out your pocket, you write a check for $1,000 and get in the wrong line and get told you in the wrong line. Okay, so I'm just saying. You guys, you really, really need to take a look at what is informing you, such as the truth behind you, and get behind those type of opportunities, those topics. Okay. Last point, we're gonna let our friends say one more thing of encouragement to you, and we out of here.
Can I be honest with you? Can I? Okay. Yeah, I know that I'm saying this from a place of love. The issue is right now is you have a crock pot goal with a microwave mentality. You're trying to cook something that requires a lot of time and a lot of energy, but you're trying to hurry up and get it done. And now the energy that's needed, the sustainability that is needed, you don't have it because your consistent daily actions don't match it. Do you see how this works? to create something of sustainability, I have to have sustainable energy being put into it consistently. And here's what consistency looks like. Consistency doesn't look like I did it today and I do it tomorrow, I do it the next day, and then I don't do it the next day. No. You have to be thinking, I have to do this for months with no evidence that it's going to show itself. When you can start to do that, guess what? You've just fallen in love with the grind. And when you fall in love with the grind, that meat's going to come out that crock pot tasting so good.
Well said. Well said. I think that's a great point to end the show. You know, placing the accountability on where and how things could be so beneficial for your lives and for each other's lives. You know, we say it all the time. You know, think about your neighbor, think about your friend, think about somebody outside of yourself to better yourself, to be the better person. You know, and something's moving we have to do. We started out with Black history, you know, Black excellence, excuse me. I don't like the term Black history because it seems like it's isolated to one point. You know, we've learned from what Jackie Robinson did today. You know, we learned from that today. We learned that the ability within the mindset of determination and wanting to be making success happen, we learned that today. We did. We learned that from him. We learned that from his story. You know, his life. This is why I always say that, you know, that those of you that don't understand yourself, even in your biblical perspective, and if anybody, like I've said before in the show, telling you that you're not anything, you're greater than what even somebody thought that you were, because guess what? Your story is being written every time that you wake up each morning. Okay. Your story doesn't end until it's closed out here, but guess what? It still continues, because everybody that come after you gonna know about your story. It's just like every story that y'all want to make realities, everybody's reality, every story in the Bible from Genesis to Revelations, okay, is still a story. And it's a story about real people experiencing a real opportunity and their perception of their real God. That's it. Okay. We've had a great time tonight. All right. We've had an enjoyable time tonight. We hope that it's been an educational place. We're way over our time, but you know, sometimes we need to be a little bit over this to kind of bring everything home to you, you know, as we should. We love you much. Charles, thank you always for being here. We love you, brother. Thank you for being part of Black history, excellent history. You know, the three of us right here, we are Black history. That's right. We are excellent history, because guess what? When we move on to the other side, these videos, these opportunities will still be here representing what we contributed to creating another excellent level of excellent Black history.
That's true.
They'll still be here.
It will still be here.
And we keep raining on. So that's another reward too. Okay, to us, because we'll still always be blessing somebody throughout this world, whether it's 1, 10, 15, 20, whatever. We'll still always be doing that. You know, they'll probably look at us quicker than they look at the ones that have 50 million votes and all those other type of ranks and every type of stuff, because they really ain't saying nothing to mean anything. All right. Anyway, we love you guys. We will see you back right here on The Truth Behind the Truth next week. Bye. Have a great week.